Human beings have the ability to recognize patterns presented in front of them. It's called pattern recognition. Surprising, I know. Ignoring pattern recognition for a second, YouTube drama. The worst thing about YouTube drama is easily the amount of people that know about it and try to weigh in on it no matter how uneducated their opinions are. Something more can say he's grown out of is reading something and then immediately regurgitating it like a fact. Because not only does it not help anyone, but it also completely poisons the well of information being spread. You also look really stupid when people find out that you are wrong. We've seen this happen multiple times throughout the years, and every time it manages to get that much goofier with the amount of lies, misinformation, and half-truths being spread. And I'm not even talking about the random NPCs dropping takes on Twitter with 0 likes. I'm talking about content creators too. Here's a little surprise to all the people who watch my YouTube videos. You shouldn't trust every word said by famous people, because not only are most famous people lacking brain cells, but most famous people just lie. The concept of pattern recognition seems to be a dwindling concept, however, because the exact same thing happened 3 times in the past 7 years. Slazzo, Pyrocynical, and Kwite have all had allegations levied at them that were either later to be exposed as untrue in some way. With Pyro, it was the idea that he knowingly groomed a child. Slazzo was apparently an abusive partner, and Kwite, well, out of everyone, his controversy made the least amount of sense to me. But I should probably start at the beginning, shouldn't I? Hey, if you watch a lot of my videos, then you know the drill by now. I want more money and the ability to flex how many people have pressed the funny red button, so subscribe. Consider joining the Discord if you want to hear me talk out of my £2 microphone in people's VCs. And follow my Twitter for some base tweets. I also have a second channel where I promise I'll be posting content too soon. Anyway, time to get on with it.
Oh my god, I don't. Hey!
Kwite is a YouTuber with almost 2 million subscribers on YouTube. He makes commentary videos on mostly non-serious topics. Even someone as soulless as me can see the appeal. Anyway, blah blah blah, speech about how this YouTuber's career fell apart. On the 22nd of February, a Twitter user called Nyas Putin posted a tweet longer on Kwite, accusing him of being emotionally accusing him of being manipulative, a clout chaser, using him. He also makes claims to be the originator of Kwite's avatar, accused Kwite of being transphobic, and the most important claim. Orion claimed, the name of the person that made the tweet longer is Orion, by the way. Orion claimed that Kwite had sexually assaulted them. Hello. I never thought that I could come out about this, and I have struggled with this for years before writing this. And I doubt it will be anything close to years after I write this that this will ever be released. But in the case that you are reading this, I have to come out and lay out what has happened to me. I was by a man known as the YouTuber Kwite in February 2018. Been in an extremely toxic friendship, on and off relationship with him since 2017. To start in the beginning, I had found Kwite's channel when it had less than 500 subscribers, and as a teenager wanted to make art for him. Because he didn't use his face in his videos, I thought he would have an easier time if I drew him, and recommended he wore sunglasses and a face mask instead of manually keying his face out with a black box. There I essentially came up with a persona with him and drew various talk sprites for him, for free, that he only ever used maybe once. We were around the same age and slowly began talking and bonding over shared mental health issues. At this time I was undiagnosed with autism and BPD, and thus was unaware of how these would affect me in the coming relationship we had, and how he would, most likely without knowing, take advantage of me. At first we were extremely close in ways that helped the both of us. He shared bits of his past and I shared mine. However, slowly my status as an artist would land me in more YouTuber circles than his, and he would slowly try to encourage me to let him join said spaces. As a friend, I of course wanted to include him in as many as I could, but as I did, and he made various connections outside of me, the relationship grew transactional. While I won't say I was the most stable person at the time, I was not actively unkind. I cannot say the same for him. When my abandonment issues would arise, he would leave me ignored, and then when I was having the worst of my time, he would swoop in to save me and keep me under his thumb. He would yell at me or act passive aggressive towards me when being my friend was inconvenient, but love bomb me when it was just us or he needed something from me. He would use my memory issues against me to gaslight me about things he said, and would keep most of the conversations we had on calls or on Skype, because the messages delete after a set amount of time. He would actively talk about his new friends to me when he wanted me to do something for him, and took up a great amount of my time. Eventually we met in real life a few times. I had transphobic parents, so I told him my dead name to use only when my parents were talking to him, but after knowing this information, he would use it as a way to belittle me. The first meeting was fine, but he had a rule that I wasn't allowed to take any pictures of him, but he was allowed to take pictures of me. After promising and begging to take a few pictures, that wouldn't and still haven't been posted for memories, he let me take a few before he left. The second meeting, however, was different. We had planned to meet up while he was on vacation in my city, and thus I would pick him up in my car, and we would both go to a trampoline park and go see Black Panther. This is where the worst of his behavior occurred. At this time, we were both on and off flirting and had discussed that if we were both single at the time, we would take each other's. However, once he had come onto me in the back seat of my car, I started to get cold feet. He, however, did not want to take no for an answer. In the back seat of my own car, he raped me. All the while I was telling him how it hurt and how I didn't want to do this anymore. He kept telling me this is what you wanted as he went, but soon got bored of it and got out. I sat in the car by myself for a bit before going to join him in the movie we had planned to see together. And to make up, he had me buy him popcorn. I put the event out of my mind as just two being bad at and hung out with him for the rest of the day. He was still one of my closest friends. I have a video with him to prove that we were together at the time, that I was able to post only for myself after begging him to take pictures with me because we were friends. A few months later, once he has gained quite a few more subscribers and larger YouTube friends, did he start ghosting me more and more often. All while I was having BPD episodes. It got to the point where he called me to cut me off, and in our fight, he called me up, who thinks she's a boy and never will be. This extremely hurt me and caused me to spiral more. I almost needed to be institutionalized, but thankfully for my social support system, I wasn't. I'm truly sorry that I stayed silent on this issue for years, but I cannot keep silent. I have been scared for myself and how the public will treat me, but I am too scared that I am not the only victim to keep silent anymore. Anyone who may also have been victimized is more than encouraged to DM me, and I hope you're doing okay. I know that many of you will not believe me. I don't care anymore. For those who do, thank you for your ear, and I hope that you stay safe. Needless to say, the floodgates were open. Mentions of dead naming, slurs, and transphobia. Anyone is a fan of Kwite after reading this? Block me. Right now. This is fucking disgusting. And no one should be supported after doing this. Hashtag drop Kwite. Hashtag I stand with Orion. At Kwite Mods has already gone private. Fuck y'all too. Hashtag drop Kwite. Hashtag I stand with Onision. Hashtag believe victims. Man, as a trans person, it's so difficult to see people you look up to just end up as another transphobic arse. No less. My fault for trusting another disgusting YouTuber. Hashtag drop Kwite. Hashtag I stand with Orion. Hashtag drop Kwite. Hashtag I stand with Orion. I swear to God, I'm starting to lose hope in YouTubers day by day. Man, hindsight is a bitch. Something you notice about all of those tweets though is that they were made mere hours after Orion's original tweet longer. The one that provided literally no evidence for any of the claims he made. Now, I'm not saying providing evidence of a sexual assault is easy, because it's not, obviously. But what about everything else? You're telling me you can't provide evidence for the stuff you said in DMs or during a call? Also, sorry to mess with the pace of this video, but can I talk about this for a second? What literal brain damage? The amount of bias towards the whole believe all victims movement is pretty obvious, with the diagram painting the concept of believing a fake victim as doing the best to support a potential victim, when in reality you might have just helped ruin someone else's entire life, and then painting the idea of not believing a fake victim as something that would screw over the victims when that isn't the case. Where do I stand? Be neutral until both sides make a response. I thought that was obvious. In a situation like this, with so little evidence for anything, it only makes sense to wait for Kwite's response, because he was cooking up something fierce. While Kwite's in the kitchen, I want to look a lot more into the victim. Let's talk about Orion. On the 19th of March, a YouTuber called King Coda released a doc and video on Orion, exposing a lot of things people didn't realize or just didn't care about. The main point I'll be focusing on is how Orion has a lying problem. At one point, Orion claimed to be a victim of pyro. Okay then, proof pending I guess. He also then claims that the entirety of the Slazo drama was I think I'll just read this one out. Just between you and me real quick. Off the books, no one knows. Slazo did that shit. Quite made up shit to back up Che, but like, for real. Pyro 2. What did bro mean by that? Now, I know I cannot prove this with the current evidence we have, but I think he did this to throw out the two outliers that would make people be skeptical of his claims, which, you know, isn't good if it's true. But things that really stood out to me in this document was Orion's proof, such as being in a relationship with Kwite and having pictures, which proves nothing relevant. Apparently, Orion had access to a voicemail with Kwite being transphobic. He doesn't provide any of this, even though so far, the most evidence we have gotten out of him in this situation is a comically placed tumbleweed. Oh, by the way, Kwite's face was leaked during all of this. Orion was honestly using Kwite's face as proof for sexual. You fucking what, mate? Hey, long time no talk. This is Orion from back in the day. I have something you may want to know. I was by one of your friends. If you can promise not to tell him I told you, I can tell you no, it was with receipts. Was that English?
Nope.
Quite me. I have proof. Have you seen his face? Now, doxing the face of a person who sexually assaulted you arguably is fair. Like, I wouldn't do it personally, but I understand why someone else would. Unfortunately, the allegations aren't true. Surprise! Woo! Easily the most important part of this entire situation is this response, because a few things could have happened. In a different universe, Kwite could admit to everything and we'd all go on with our lives. He would do a poor job defending himself and have no one believe him anyway, or the fortunate reality we did get. We let bro cook, and clearly he delivered.
This is my response to several allegations made against me, the most serious of which being that I sexually assaulted a former friend and ex-partner of mine named Orion in Orlando, Florida on February 18th, 2018. This is patently false and completely untrue. Not only did I not assault Orion, I never had any sexual contact with him in any way, shape, or form. I have a lot of evidence to share backing what I say in this video, including a recording of Orion giving a testimony of this exact interaction from late 2018 that directly contradicts his current version of events.
Kwite managed to destroy every allegation levied at him using the one thing that Orion hadn't provided in any way: receipts. Kwite obviously starts the video off by slapping down any claims of sexual assault, by bringing up that Orion had a completely different retelling of events the first time he had gone publicly about this.
Orion claims I assaulted him in the backseat of his car outside of the Cinemark XD Theater in Orlando before we went inside to watch a 3:40 p.m. showing of Black Panther. Orion alleged that mid-intercourse, I didn't listen to him when he said that I was hurting him, and when he told me to stop, I apparently didn't until some time after he had asked, and that all the way through the act, I was continuously telling him, "This is what you wanted." Orion says when I did stop, it was only because I got bored of the sex and then I exited the car. He goes on to say that after we got into the theater that I had him buy me popcorn to make up for it. This is entirely false on multiple levels, and I have no idea why Orion would this egregiously and ridiculously fabricate a crime of this magnitude. This clip is of Orion describing the same day the assault allegedly took place in a video 4.5 years ago, where he has a very different account of how he felt about that day, even in hindsight looking back at it.
Cut to February where we met up for the second time, and I remember it was February because we went to see Black Panther. It was fun, and I distinctly remember him getting out of my car, but stopping midway and saying, "Just remember, I really care about you," and then closing the door, which made me feel really good because, you know, this was my best friend. We had met up for the second time. He still cares about me.
Throughout the entire video, that clip is taken from a testimony given much closer to when the assault allegedly took place. The topic of sexual or romantic activity between me and Orion is not mentioned a single time.
The point about the popcorn, something deeply personal was even brought up, with Kwite having to explain to millions of people that he is both a and has performance issues.
My apprehension when it comes to sexual contact is not limited to Orion. Not only did I never have sex with him, I have never had sex with anyone. Even as of recording this video, I am still a virgin. It has been a long-running insecurity of mine. Due to my general focus on work, the pandemic killing the ability to pursue anything in that vein for years, as well as causing me to backslide in my social ability and confidence like it did most people, a fair few of my friends have had to deal with me drunkenly venting about my nervousness around.
Kwite began to focus more on Orion's initial video about the matter and the inconsistencies in it. This isn't just minor things either. Orion was describing different events at the same time and day. Then the claim of Kwite deleting evidence by deactivating his Discord. But when Kwite disproved that, Orion changed the story.
Throughout this entire active situation, Orion has demonstrated a consistent pattern of lying. At one point in a tweet after releasing the initial twit longer, Orion said that I had deactivated my Discord account, but that luckily he got recordings of it, that I was deleting my side of all the messages. These recordings only showed that the Discord account he spoke with was mine and nothing else. I have no idea why Orion said this. He didn't show evidence for that claim, which isn't new, but it's so provably wrong that it's dumb to say if you aren't absolutely certain about it. I showed as much by posting a small update in my Discord server, just saying that I did not delete my account and that I was working on this statement. When Orion got caught being wrong on that, he changed the story to me apparently having used a bot to delete my side of all our Discord DMs, insinuating that I did so because I was trying to cover up the truth or I had something to hide. I don't know why he said that either because it also isn't true. Orion still didn't prove it, and it's very easy to show that. When I go to mine and Orion's Discord DMs, the entire history of our messages is still there. It was all still accessible from my end before this whole thing, and it definitely will be after. I went ahead and archived the entire year plus of mine and Orion's Discord conversations, as well as all of the text messages we've ever sent each other. And you can look through all of them yourself at the link in the description.
Lads and ladettes, this is our champion. Quite even linked that Discord DM conversation. Oh no. Look, I can go on for literal hours going over every point of Kwite's video and why he beat them allegations, but I'd implore you to just watch it yourself. That's the end of the video. See ya, lads. Oh fuck. So, after Kwite's video, the people obviously wanted answers out of Orion. Orion delivered. Hey, I haven't seen the full video, but I noticed quite a bit of lying in the first 10 minutes, so I realized I need to show my diagnosis. After I post this, I'm logging off for a while, but here is undeniable proof that what I said occurred did. Thank you for everyone's support. I'm not going to be the first to point out the differences in opacity of the doctor's signature, but the most important thing is the little tidbit that also is in this doc. I looked up this doctor, and they were a real doctor at this clinic, but they specialize in infant development. Interesting. What do you want me to say at this point? I have presented everything I can to possibly explain why I believe that Orion is the one in the wrong here. I've presented multiple screenshots where Orion just says things without a lick of proof. This entire drama can be summed up as,
nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
I'm sorry, but I'm serious. That is this entire situation. Prove me wrong. What I think bothers me the most though might be the fact that this happened so many times. With Slazo, I can understand. Multiple big YouTubers are backing the victim, and we had never seen a reason to put speculation on the victim before. Pyro, well, let's be honest here, people were in denial over Pyro this entire drama. People had what I'd only call an overreaction based on the Slazo drama when Pyro was involved, when the only thing Pyro was guilty of was being a massive degen. This has happened before. This has happened twice. I thought surely these people will actually take a minute and wait for a response from the guy getting accused. Nope.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity?
And the thing is, I get it. I get the mindset behind believing the victim, but this dude had his face doxed. His career almost got entirely ruined. And what was the common defense for the people who jumped the gun? Oh, sorry bro, what happened again? I'm done. This video was a mess to wait for me waiting for stuff, seeing a bunch of other people trying to rush to make videos on this. Moral of the story, wait for everything to be released before wiling out. Have a good day. See ya, lads.